Hi, my name's David Allier, and this is the first ever video on pickle stats. I had this idea to research problems in pickleball, or I should say questions that people have in pickleball, and apply statistics and modeling to those questions and find answers. So without further ado, let me describe the first problem I had in mind. And this relates to some of the first tournaments I ever played, where you flip a coin and you decide server side. And so then the question is, you've won the coin toss. What's the best choice? Should you take serve or take side? So we're going to get in some plots and graphs, and we're going to get into the math and the modeling, but let's just think about it before we get into that. So first of all, if you think about the serve pattern in pickleball, the first team gets one serve, and of course the next team then gets two serves, and then the first team gets two serves, and so forth. So it's a 1-2-2-2-2 pattern. So if you think about the game of chess, the player that goes first makes one move, and then that's the white pieces, and then the black pieces get one move, and then the white pieces get one move, and so forth. So as you step forward in a chess game, the white pieces are technically always kind of one step ahead, or at least tied with black in terms of plays made. So in that regard, that's why the mathematics have proven out that in the game of chess, the white pieces generally have a small statistical advantage in the long run. And at the highest ranks of chess, grandmasters, starting with white, are generally going to have a chance to win, and black is generally playing for a draw. So does that hold true pickleball? And we're going to find out. But if you think about it, after the first team serves once, they've got one service rotation done. Then the receiving team gets two serves, so they kind of leapfrog ahead a sense. They've now got two complete service rotations, and they could have scored more points. And then, of course, goes back to the first team, and they get two serves. So there's a constant leapfrogging back and forth between first having one serve, then three, then five, then seven, then nine for team one, while the second team has two, then four, then six, then eight, and so on. So the overriding question then is, should you choose serve or side? Which one's better? And think about the side choice, because in my experience, playing doubles, both men's and mixed, whatever it might be, very often you'll play the exact same teams, exact same court, same conditions on a given day. And I've had many situations where we play 6 consecutive games, and all 6 games are won from one side. So the final score is 3 games for each team, but all those 6 games were won on one side. And there's clearly a side advantage. And at the US Open last year in Naples, Florida, the 2018 tournament, on the center court, I paid pretty strict attention to those matches, and the wind conditions there were, of course, very blustery, very prominently factoring in the matches. And sure enough, you could just count on the probability that the team serving on the quote-unquote good side was probably going to win. And a lot of those matches went to 3 games for that reason, because it came down to a side advantage. So the question within that question is, given that there might be a side advantage, which side should you take? On the one hand, if you take the good side, so you have a higher probability of getting the first game win, then you're applying pressure to the other team in the second game to get a win, because they're behind. On the flip side, if you choose the hard side and you can grind out a win, well, then you get to go to the easy side, and so hopefully you can cruise through to the match win. If conditions are really tough and you can assume that you're really equally rated teams and there's a good probability you're going to go 1 game each, then that third game, do you really want to start on the strong side? Do you want to get to that 6-point lead at the game switch, so that maybe you're up 6 points to 2 at the switch and then you go to the bad side? Or would you rather start on the bad side, so that in that final game, if you can get to even 4-6 and you're down, your team has 4 points and they have 6, and then you switch to the good side, then you can finish strong. When the going gets really tough and it really matters, that could be the most critical time. That's a really tough question to answer, and I'm not going to try to do that here. But those are all the more complicated questions about choosing side. So for now, let's just focus on, should you take serve? If you choose serve, do you in fact have some sort of advantage? Because you get to serve first, your team gets to serve first. And we're going to look this a number of ways.